Hi everyone, and welcome to the announcement of the finalists for the Social Impact edition of the Urban Greenhouse Challenge 3. My name is Maud. You might remember me from previous events, and I will be your host of today. So it has been a long journey for all of us in this challenge. We started back in November with a great amount of teams from all over the world. And now we are here, ready to announce the finalists. So in early February, we had a first selection round already, where we announced the 20 teams that would proceed in the challenge. Since then, they joined a virtual site visit, and they had other interesting events, such as speed dates with coaches from our partner network. All that to create their ultimate design for their Urban Greenhouse Challenge. And now all of us are left with that one question back in our mind: who will make it to the finals? And luckily, we have an amazing selection committee for that. They scored all your proposals on several relevant aspects, such as the social impact, the design of the greenhouse, the business plan, and the production system. So let me introduce you to them. So first of all, we have Kathy Dixon. Kathy Dixon is a principal of K. Dixon Architecture and an associate professor at UDC Causes, the partner of this year's challenge. Also from UDC Causes, we have Eric Harris, who has been involved throughout the entire duration of the challenge. Next, we have Guillaume Moreau-Chevelet. He is a researcher at Astredder. He is an expert in urban agriculture and also a coach in the challenge. And last but not least, we have Tiffany Tsu from Vertical Farm Institute and from Springtide Strategy and Ventures. And actually, Tiffany is also in the studio with me today here. Welcome, Tiffany.
Glad to be here, Maud.
So it's great to have you here. You have been involved since the second edition of the challenge already, and you were even involved in defining this year's challenge. So how has your Urban Greenhouse Challenge journey been so far?
Well, I think I can speak for the whole team here and everybody, organizers, Martha, Rio, and all the teams around to make it happen. So this amazing journey. Last 3 years, I think we've seen major changes in the world. And the student challenge started out as, say, a student activity, but in the meantime, these challenges are trying to answer the key questions really surrounding our everyday life. We are talking about urban food security, the green and digital transformation of our society, social equity issues. So along the 3 years, we see that really we start becoming family members. I think that was really strong from last year's edition. A lot of team members, especially was at the most difficult times of the whole pandemic situation. And we really see that the strong team family bond between the teams are joining. And this year, I think the overall it's a little less because I think our world is easing up a little bit. But still, we're really happy to see the really strong kind of family and team spirit across all the continent.
That's very nice to hear. And definitely, like you say, also in today's society, the challenges are so relevant. So as I said already, you were involved in defining this year's challenge. Did the final reports of the student teams meet your expectations?
And yes. I think for this year's challenge, it is more difficult than the last year's edition. It has more constraint. So what we saw as selection committee and coaches is that in the first round, I think the teams were more struggling or searching for a direction. But we're really happy to see that after the first milestones, quite a number of teams made really significant progress, that coming out of this searching period and then starting to be really focused on who they are, what kind of challenge solutions they want to work on, and then really to show their innovation and creativity. So that was really, really happy for us to see.
And so you say that this social impact edition was maybe the toughest one of them all. What was this year's challenge for the students?
I think the challenge also, again, fitting very well with our world today's big challenge, is that this year's challenge focused on social impact. And then the key, I find, a challenge for the teams is to think about understanding how do you combine a socially viable, economically viable model in a community setting. And for this kind of student challenges, also in the last edition, together with organizer, we discussed that and say, well, how do you learn from each edition and then to also pose more constraint in a way. So it's not every time the team can start from complete blank. Rather they can build on to the previous knowledge and then also become more grounded to not to try solve all the problems in the world, but then to really focus on specific issues, but work out a coherent integral design answering the question that they defined. So this year we see that's also what we see in the beginning, that there's this struggle period to really find out what is the problem, how do we define it, and then to find the right solutions. So in that, I think this year's edition is more grounded. There's more constraint on the design. So it's not a completely open, you can be just creative as you want. So you need to be really tied to the local context. There's budget restraint. There's a strong community, social aspect you have to really consider. So that also makes this challenge that more interesting.
Yes, that's a very interesting thing you say. Maybe also make it more realistic and perhaps in the end that would result in one of the designs actually being implemented.
I hope so, yes.
So if you think back of the submissions that we received 2 years ago during the second edition, and then compare those to the submissions that we received this year, what are the biggest differences that you see apart from the grounded aspect you already mentioned?
I think the edition last year was based on China. I think there's first of all, a fundamental, quite a difference between on the context we're designing. So the Chinese project, I also visited myself. It's in the Greater Bay Area. And then it's, let's say, a greenfield development. So basically, there's not too much of a local communities to really think about. So the social aspect, while important, but it's not such a centerpiece. This year's edition, there's a lot of site constraint. So there's existing residents, really daunting social problems, not necessarily familiar to all the teams. It's very context sensitive. So in that, I think the overall design is last year's edition, we see much more design focus. So architectural concept, more focus on graphical and storytelling, visual storytelling. This year, that aspect for some teams is a little missing. We miss a bit more of the, let's say, the integral visual storytelling, really bring the story forward. And that makes also missed opportunity for some teams. We really see there's a lot of potential. If there will be more better design support and then also more attention on to really bring that last step to wrap this concept together into one, easily conveyable, convincing story in 5 minutes. And that will really help a lot of teams. So that's one, the design aspect is weaker in this year. But same time, so as I mentioned before, that you see much more consideration from the teams to be sensitive to local context. So indeed, we see a lot of solutions that's really inspiring. That is something where you see creativity that comes out because there's a constraint. That precisely, we hope that a lot of this concept can really maybe bring forward into a reality.
It's very nice to hear. And I think also a tip in your story for the teams who will proceed that perhaps they should give some more attention to their design, but we'll find that out later.
Yes.
And so at the beginning, you already mentioned the relevance of the urban greenhouse challenges in today's society. So if we look at feeding the world in this century we are living in, how do you think that the urban greenhouse challenge fits in there?
I think that in the last 2 years, especially this period, we see there was a saying somewhere that today's world maybe is the best place for idealists, meaning that also this year's challenge why is very interesting that we try to combine social objective with the business model, because for actually that is until now is a social objective are separate from business model. Business model is about having a product that appeals to consumers and can have a good income and then have a commercial viability. But I think with the idealist context is that the social based business model need to become almost a license to operate. So what we see is big retail chains, big multinationals, they need to require, for example, by big government or regulatory bodies, for example, your commission, they need to incorporate, for example, due diligence. Retail chains or Port of Amsterdam or big food processors, they need to show they understand what's happening in their chain, not only what they control as their production process, but they need to concern about equity issues, also the impact on biodiversity, what's the impact on the wider global topic. So these topics, issue that were more, let's say, externalized to the environment that nobody really pays for them, they now need to become part of the business model. So I think that this year's challenge is especially very encouraging to see that students need to think about the business model is not about just calculating income, expenditure, and investment. It is precisely that. How do you create value through a product or service that solves a problem, and then that you can also capture that value? And that value creation and capture can be by consumers, but it can also be government, citizens, and through this whole transparency process and that kind of value creation, it will become more and even more central to businesses, for any businesses. So I think that's, especially this year's, where I like to congratulate the teams who joined it and really persisted in delivering stay with the challenge till now. A big applause to really try to answer this challenge of today.
I think the congratulations are definitely in order for all the teams already. So thank you for your answers. Then there are some more people who would like to say something to all the participants of this year's challenge. So sit back and listen to some of our partners.
Students of the world, congratulations with achieving the milestones of the World Challenge. I hope this challenge has enthusiasted you in learning things about vertical farming and indoor farming in the region where you are active. At our Techno, we are dedicated to put the plant and the ROI at the center of our growth solution. That's why we built our vertical farming system around the plant and provide the plant with everything it needs to have the perfect growth. In the past months, I have had the opportunity to speak to some of you and to give some advice and to see your thoughts how you want to make a setup of an indoor or vertical farm. Hopefully our advice has led you into the best what vertical farming or indoor can bring you. At the final term, I wish you all the best. Something still needed in advice, you are always welcome. And if you want to come over to the Netherlands to see this kind of beautiful indoor farms, we are more than willing to show that to you. Good luck.
Hi all, my name is Hilke Bos-Brouwers and I am one of the coaches of the Urban Greenhouse Challenge. This is my second year. I work at Wageningen Food and Bio-Based Research as a senior scientist, sustainable food chains, and I really like to deal with circularity by design. Cities are incredibly important to this challenge because by 2050, almost 70% of the world population will be living in cities and they will be producing annually an amount of 2 billion kilos of waste. Tremendous challenge, and I really appreciate that this year's teams are really addressing it and designing it. It is more than just putting a greenhouse to the city, it is really creating a living environment. I wish you the best of luck with the final stretch and go for the future.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Boelrijk, Director of the University Fund Wageningen. With our support, we connect people and ideas and fund, and therefore we like to contribute to the University Wageningen and the people and the planet. We find it very important to stimulate personal and professional development of students and young alumni. And the student challenges are a very great way to do so. We are proud that University Fund Wageningen is able to support the 3rd edition of the Urban Greenhouse Challenge. And of course, we are very excited to see how the teams are developing their innovative concepts. On behalf of my colleagues and all our donor friends, I congratulate the top 10 teams and wish them the best of luck with the last sprint to the grand final.
Well, that was for sure a very nice video, making us all so enthusiastic to find out who will make it to the finals. So let's not keep you waiting any longer, and let's announce the finalists for the Urban Greenhouse Challenge 3. So on behalf of the selection committee, Tiffany will grab an envelope and one by one give the teams feedback, after which she will let you know whether your team has made it to the finals or not. And for the 10 teams who are going to be the finalists, they will give their pitch during the finals at the end of June. So Tiffany, I give the word to you.
Thank you, Malt. So without further delay, let's start with the first team. The first team is USC Stack. Hello. I had the pleasure to coach with Stack in the second milestone. So congratulations for improving on your concept. So most of the teams in this challenge have identified lack of access to fresh and healthy produce due to infrastructure being one of the key issues in the food apartheid situation in War 7. Your team is the only one that delivers a coherent concept to incorporate this infrastructure focus into the business model. Indeed, today's world, we can see a lot of business models successfully that has a focus on the distribution infrastructure. So think Tesla, which focuses on the energy distribution, or the Dutch supermarket Picnic, which is a grocery delivery powered by algorithm. So the central question for your concept is whether such a model can be adopted, focusing on low-income communities and social impact. To address this problem that you identified, you developed a coherent business model with good market analysis. The jury is impressed with your in-depth market analysis from different urban and rural regions. The mobile market concept is well developed and can be used with the potential to further develop into a real business model. However, you have a 30 million annual revenue in 3 years is very ambitious indeed. The key success factor will be scale and network required for the physical infrastructure, as well as the digital platforms. So the roadmap from your planned 6 mobile units to reach a critical mass market is not entirely clear. In your social impact design, you have a very good diagram showing the food production system and social impact. This can be fleshed out more to go into the specifics and how this affects the social impact factors. The complete mobile market model is very well developed and substantiated, but perhaps at the cost of the food production concept itself. For example, what about the landscape around the building? You choose to focus on only soilless techniques, but ignoring the potential for outdoor and soil-based solutions. So linking with agroecology related to landscape area is also a missed opportunity. So the question is, are you rewarded with your taking the risk of focusing on the infrastructure, but not on the site itself? The question is yes. Congratulations, Team Stack, for making to the final. Yay. The next team is Team Hive. Hello. Team Hive, you have an overall proposal, which is a sincere effort to develop a local context-sensitive design with considerations for low-cost construction and maintenance. Your architecture concept can be further improved with better design support. The modular construction system is interesting and fitting to local context, but the production facility does provide clear explanation of the different modules. It's efficient idea and also good for replicability. However, the details about the crop choices need to be more precise, for example, on the yield or species. Having chicken on your concept is coherent with circularity and educational objectives. The food forest principle is great, but it needs more detailed analysis. Your business model analysis is a bit general. Some detailed calculation and analysis of the different growing modules are needed. The market beneficiary analysis also is not too in-depth. You had a very interesting reference to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Did you interview the people, the local residents, to understand their needs according to this Maslow hierarchy? Overall, the social impact design was coherent and comprehensive, but it also lacks certain stronger integration of the concept. So the question is, did your concept convince the selection committee for you to go into the final? The answer is, sorry, Team Hive, you didn't make it. Thank you for the great effort. So the next team is Refarm. Hello. Team Refarm, you have a very well presented overall concept. Your design analysis shows strong understanding of the local context. Your site layout is thoughtful and appropriate. The building scale fits the local location and needs. The innovative sustainability solutions are well integrated into the design. Also, your outdoor spaces are attractive and functional. It's a good idea to maximize land use by installing greenhouses on the roof. The mix between low-tech and high-tech, though, is coherent, but there are questions remain about skills and viability. Information about plants, species, and yield would be more appreciated to provide better argument. Your business model is well-grounded with a good analysis of local context. Innovative products proposed fits well with the mission to bring back food culture into the community. You have considered very important local partners. However, a more in-depth business case analysis will be appreciated. Education should be a key part of the business model, and partnership initiative and programs can be better explained. There are some useful information in the annex. Unfortunately, it was very difficult to read. There's overall a good effort to provide a strategy to address food security. However, your proposal lacks a comprehensive social impact design to show how these things will take place. So, question is, are you in the final? Yes, Refarm, congratulations. You made it to the grand finale. Yay, congratulations. So, next team. Next team is Mouseman Studio. Oh, wait 1 second. Oh, okay. I had the pleasure to coach with Milestone Studio during the first milestone. So very nice design concept. That's also the overall comment from the jury is you have provided a very strong architectural design and graphical representation of the overall concept. The site design is visually appealing with very high quality graphical work. The terrace architectural design integrated with food production is a nice concept. However, the connection to local context is a weakness in your proposal. The growing systems of food production is well represented with your graphical work. The indoor production is clearly described, and then innovative solutions are appreciated. However, there are some challenges, such as daily maintenance of different plots and different story. However, outdoor production linking with community and social activities for local is not clearly described. The business model chapter as well as the social impact chapter are quite difficult to read without more substantiated explanation. In those two areas, the graphical representation are more distracting than enhancing. So attention should be made to the important business areas and then to help readers draw a coherent conclusion. In our first coaching call, I remember we discussed the potential high cost of your architectural design. And it's from other coaches' feedback, I think that's well aware that your design will not be keeping with the 1.5 to 2 million budget. However, you made a choice to continue with pursuing this architectural design, which is very impressive. But in your financial model or your investment business model calculation, you didn't really provide justification why such design is warranted and how do you justify the high cost. So question is your effort to focus on to go for a more high quality graphical representation, but exceeding the budget, earn you a final spot? The answer is, I'm sorry, no. Thank you for the great work, but you are not in the final. So next team, Team Mira. Team Mira. The jury are very impressed with the core focus of your proposal to develop a cooperative business model, which is really the key question of this challenge to develop long-term business models centered on social impact. Your business model proposed is well-researched with good analysis. Excellent research on existing startup and innovative business partners already in the area, which provides convincing ground for the CSA Boxes business case. Also, there's a good attention on the membership structure in relation to community governance mechanism. This is a very strong aspect of your proposal, and we find it would be very relevant to develop it more precisely. The overall growing concept is based on a fan-low greenhouse system, which is typically deployed at large scale with high upfront expenditures. Crop selection has a good focus on native African American diet. Mushroom production is significant for the project, but some calculations will be great. The insect production and then water purification is coherent and also maximizes use of resources. Also here, more graphics, support, and details will be appreciated. You have a wonderful incorporation of UN's SDG into the social impact design. Here, better graphical illustration would be very helpful to explain it and also make a connection to your design concept. For example, which fields of action would your team really address? Overall, we find your concept a very well-developed proposal and with a clear focus. So congratulations, Team Mira, you're in the final. Yay. What do you say in the paper? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, team, for the great work. Okay. Let me take some water. Next team is plain ethical farming. Did I pronounce it right? Hello. So, let's see. Team plan ethical. Your overall proposal covers many aspects, but there's a lack of a clear focus. So on the one hand, your plan tries to cover many activities. There are beehives, biodiversity, food markets, and also different growing systems are stacked together. There's the multi-layer underground, vertical farms, greenhouses, rooftop gardens. But on the other hand, it lacks important details and scientific support. For example, we need more scientific references when you refer to Sciaphyllus ornamental plants producing highly valuable plants will provide a remarkable income to the farm. So the question is, which plant species is it focused on? And on which level, for example, is the water cleaned by the phytodepredation? How deep into the ground is the structure? You mentioned the use of a geothermal system. Very good. But perhaps it needs to be larger to produce more energy. Again, also on the business model, you have a good consideration on the different aspect, what should be in there. And there's a good analysis on each component. However, there lacks a coherent and focused final analysis of the concept itself. I'm sorry, Plan Ethical, you are not in the final. Thank you for the effort. Next team. Team Lettuce Design. So I had also, again, a pleasure to be coaching Lettuce Design. Hello, good to see you again. Really a pleasure to already at the second milestone. This is our milestone. So congratulations to the whole team for a really excellent work. The jury cannot hide our excitement when we see this proposal. It's an excellent integral design. Like many teams, you propose a modular concept, but in your team, it's not just a building design concept, but it's really an underlying design principle consistently applied to all aspects: food production, social impacts, sustainability, and economics. Your proposal is very convincing. Essentially, you provide a planning and design toolbox to enable local participation during ideation, development, modification, expansion. It is a pleasure to read through the entire proposal and be inspired. You have a brilliant concept to apply gamification based on the modular system to community decision-making to facilitate future development of the project. The system resembles a Minecraft game. It is beautifully illustrated and reinforces the social impact design and its connection to the community to prevent displacement and gentrification, as well as provide economic activity opportunities for the local community. There's also excellent use of the business model canvas. As I also mentioned earlier, business model is not just about calculating income and expenditure, but about whether value is created through a product service and the value is being captured and rewarded. So your canvas provides an excellent overview of the overall value proposition from economics to social and to food production. However, the chapter on the business case itself lacks attention on some of the key issues identified in the canvas. For example, the impact factors and analysis of the key beneficiaries and corresponding economic incentives. Also, the market analysis and feasibility study lacks depth. There are also some specific questions regarding the design because we find it very feasible. Therefore, it's also important to answer issues like what exactly are the size of the modules, and also the column, how many columns will be required through various spaces. And also better facade design and lead detail will be appreciated. But overall, congratulations for such an excellent proposal. And you are of course, in the grand finale. Congratulations. Yay. Next team, Green Eyes. Oh, Green Eyes, hello. Green Eyes, when reading through a proposal, we have a question of what is the origin of the meaning of the title Green Eyes? I wish you can answer us, because we didn't find an answer in the proposal. The overall concept is well described, but lacks design and visual clarity. Your proposed systems are quite traditional and lacks better integration with the context. Your site layout is reasonable, but you should rethink the size of the main greenhouse farming structure. It seems rather large for the site. We find that your focus on the cultural symbol of freedom and responsibility a great conceptual idea. The community centers offers employment opportunities and economic development for growth and social impact. There's great imagery to depict project ideas with the potential of serving Ward 7 and the surrounding communities. This is a good analysis of the market and beneficiaries. The key partners and revenue systems are identified. However, there lacks a clear overview of the overall value propositions and business cases for the key activities. So overall, Green Eyes, you delivered a well-rounded and solid proposal. The question is, when ticking all the boxes, is it enough for you to enter in the grand finale? And the answer is, I'm sorry, Team Green Eyes, you didn't make it. Thank you for the great effort. So next team, it's IUA CAS. Hello. Okay. Team IUA CAS. Your proposal is one of the most thorough and comprehensively designed proposal. Very clear graphics and expression of intent. Very impressive architectural design and site layout. There's a definite potential for being a landmark and community destination. However, links with the landscape is not really your strong point. Some details of the EPS wall construction will be very helpful too. Your business model is very interesting. It consists of 3 components, a for-profit component, a non-profit component, and a microcredit bank component. For all the 3 components, you provide a very good analysis. However, it also means the social part, non-profit component, is essentially separate from the business part and needs to be subsidized. And the for-profit model is also, in that sense, quite traditional in trying to sell product, including produce and handicraft, to higher income groups outside the ward. Your growing system is very detailed with excellent technical analysis. Calculations of yield and full production are well substantiated. You have a diversity of systems from substrate-based solutions to soilless, which allows all year round produce and can be easily accessible for local community. You took into account food safety issues. There's also innovative low-tech solutions such as the reactor for the water treatment, which is well described and coherent with the farm design. You have a very good attention on the topic of CO2 capture from mushroom production and rooftop greenhouses. It's very nicely illustrated. But these techniques require a wide variety of skills. So there are questions who's going to be, how to operate it, and also education of the skilled labor. Because you also address a lot of different growing systems, your market analysis is a bit fragmented on the 2 biggest components of your business model, which is mushroom production and handcraft market. In your cash flow analysis, which is an appendix, the income from agriculture handicraft accounts for a lion's share of the future income, but this is not very consistent with your investment analysis, which is focusing on food production. But overall, IUA CAS, you provide a very comprehensive with a very strong effort, and your efforts much appreciated. So congratulations, you're in the grand finale. So still, how many teams to go? Okay, next team up, G Touch Plus. Okay, well, it seems to G Touch Plus cannot make it to our online session. The architectural concept is aesthetically pleasing with a beehive and modular concept. The visual presentation of the proposal is good. The beehive design looks innovative, futuristic. However, a side section would be helpful to understand how this building is fitting with the local context, which has a hill. There's a good attention to all the aspects, growing systems, water recycling, aquaponics, and so on. However, the concept seems general and can be placed in any neighborhood. What is the specific to this location and to this culture? Again, the business model analysis is also very general, which reads like a starting template for urban farming business. And there's also no mentioning of the key local partners. However, there's a very interesting flow diagram in the annex showing the overview of the business model. This can be elaborated and give more attention to integrate better in the overall concept. But overall, we don't find this proposal strong enough to enter the final. Sorry. Next team, Frucolas. Hello. Good to see you again. I was also had the pleasure of coaching Frucolas during the semi-final. I think Frucolas still looking for a spot to sit down. Hello. Team Frucolas. Your proposed proposal has the outdoor permaculture system, the indoor growing system, and the Wali Pini system, which is a very innovative combination of traditional practice with modern technologies. We appreciate the village style of the farm, which is nicely designed and seems to be attractive for local community. Your overall plan is robust because of its simplicity. However, more innovation will be appreciated. The design provides a solid foundation for agriculture education. The growing systems are well researched and demonstrated strong agriculture system knowledge. But maybe more links between them would be better to understand the global farm sustainability. Food production is the main target, but the in-landscape and agrological approaches would be good to consider more native and ornamental plants. The concept of indoor growing space and the Valipini system can be strengthened with more stronger architectural and design support to fully develop its potential as an aesthetically appealing and functional landmark while keeping the community and rustic characters. Your business plan is well-grounded with good feasibility. The revenues from the different income sources are clearly defined and justified. The business case for education being a central component is convincing. To start with education workshops is a good idea, but you need to be incorporated with other programming for effective and efficient social impact, as well as sustainable return on investment. Your social stakeholder business model canvas is very coherent and could help foster greater social impact initiatives and programs within the neighborhood. Illustrating how this could impact the community would have been strong for all your design concept, business model, and its effect on the surrounding neighborhood. Congratulations, Frucolas. It's a very good effort. So keep up the good work in the next month. Next team is Be Rooted. Hello. Team Be Rooted. You have a very well presented overall concept. We commend you for a substantial improvement from milestone 1. The modular construction of the building fits well with the local context. The production system and circularity issues are well thought out. The proposal demonstrated excellent understanding of the local context and proposed coherent solutions for the challenges identified. Indoor and aquaponics production are the central focus of your plan. They're clearly described and seems to be coherent. However, questions remain about energy consideration and workers' skill requirement. Having greenhouses and community garden coupled with full forest is great, and relevant considering the local context. The overall concept is also, however, the overall concept is not reflected in the consideration of the business model. Your analysis of the market, income, and incentives lacks depth. In your other chapters, there are very good mentioning of, for example, the value distribution of 70% for the outside market, 30% for communities, and then you also propose business collaboration with local composting startups. Great idea. However, these considerations are not brought together in one business analysis. There's also very good application of social programming to your overall concept. It also can be improved with better visualizing with rendering or callouts in your site plan to make better connections, integration. But overall, congratulations, Birudit. You're in the final. Next team is 55 ounce. Did I pronounce it correctly? Hello. Your team provided overall good and convincing proposal with a good analysis of the local context. The visual presentation is pleasing. However, the production system needs better explanation regarding the choice of a fan-low rooftop greenhouse, an indoor system, and plastic greenhouses. The two high-tech systems require high investment, scale, and skilled labor, which adds to the complexity of the concept. Also, the choice of having these different types of greenhouses and the relationship between them are not clearly justified and then defined. The crop choice selections are coherent with the systems chosen. There is community gardens, but more details about design will be appreciated. Having small greenhouses that can be rented by locals is relevant for your business model. Although the indoor farming and mushroom are not really linked with the overall concept. Your business model analysis is quite general, and a better graphical support will be helpful to understand. There are good considerations of the different factors impacting the business case, but it lacks in-depth analysis. The different production system call into question investment cost and economic feasibility, but there is no explanation. We do see a big improvement for milestone 1, so for that we compliment you. You have also very nice concept, for example, on the graffiti or artistic walls to support local artists. But how will these activities actually create a social return on investment? This also lacks analysis. Overall, you delivered a well-grounded, solid proposal, but unfortunately, it's not enough to go into the final. Thank you for the effort. So, next team, it's AMS Caterpillars. Hello. Team Caterpillars, again, also a very exciting proposal, very pleasing for the juries to read. Your design is more architecturally advanced than other schemes. Very good use of terracing, very attractive building and site layout. It will sure can become a community hub and landmark. The concept is well defined and the theme is clear. Excellent use of sustainable features and guiding principles. Passive elements are well developed to improve energy consumption. The building material with low impact are well selected. Energy and water management are explained and calculations are provided. Overall, the integration of sustainable technology and material into the building design is really a clear strength for the AMS team. The agrological concept is also clearly designed and explained. Introduction of a chicken production is great, not only for production, but also for education purposes. Using greenhouses for nursery is a very good idea. There's a good mixture of techniques from low tech to high tech with well-grounded and substantiated support. However, also the question that maybe there's too many production systems, which can be difficult to maintain in the long run. However, the jury do see opportunity for innovations based on stronger integration with local context. For example, the site design can be improved by illustrating the relationship between building and its immediate surrounding. For example, is there a public plaza? Your business case is well researched with case studies. GrowX is identified as a key partner, which provides very convincing business experience. However, here, the same lack of a local context, a connection local context is same. The case studies you draw are mostly from the Netherlands. While business approaches can be translated across regions, there are a number of innovative food startups in the DC area, which can become part of the collaborating ecosystem to further strengthen the community-focused business model. But overall, AMS Caterpillars, you delivered a very impressive proposal. So congratulations for the sure yes to enter the grand finale. Congratulations. Next team is AgroLab Uniandus.
Yes, they have no video as well.
Oh,
But they are in the meeting, so they can hear you
okay.
announce.
Understand this team calling they can be physically pressed, well, visibly seen. Welcome from Colombia. Team AgroLab, we find your proposal a sincere and original proposal. The analogy of the bumblebee is good for the concept, and you place education and cultural memory at the heart of your design, which is very good. There's a good ambition to use biomimicry as design principle. However, it's a challenge to embed this principle into your architectural design. Your site layout is very attractive and inviting. The activities and functions are well thought out. Overall design has a great potential to become a community hub, which will be helpful to get additional design support and renderings. Your productive part of the project is mostly based on aquaponics system. Calculations are correct. However, more details about plant production of fish species will be appreciated, as well as more precise technical drawings to perfectly understand the operation. Food production in the edible landscape is an interesting idea, but again, yield and more precise detail will be appreciated. Your business model analysis is a bit scattered and difficult to put the pieces together. Aquaponic production is described in your production system, but there's no revenue analysis. Only microgreen and lettuce are mentioned in your annex. A number of revenue sources are described, including honey drops and kitchen rental. The kitchen rental is a key source of income, but there's a lack of attention of how this plays out in your site. There is market and beneficiaries analysis, but less overall integration. There's also in your social impact design, there's very good explanation of the disparities and analysis of the issues. Would be very helpful to also draw these issues closer together into an integral presentation. Overall, we'd like to commend you for a very good effort to provide well-grounded analysis on all the aspects. We do see a lot of potential for further development improvements. We actually, as overall the juries, find when we read through your proposal, we find much more, also a lot of useful details later on in the chapter. So recommendation is perhaps to rethink your overall concept and think about really presenting the key ideas early on. So very good effort. And then we really like to give you the chance to further improve your proposal into the grand finale. So congratulations. Yay. The next, well, we have 2 left only. Next team is Team Upward. Hello. I think we also had the pleasure of speaking to Team Upward in the beginning. Yes. Team Upward, you provide an architectural concept which is aesthetically pleasing with circularity and transparency well integrated. The visual presentation of the proposal is very good. The building is welcoming and attractive. The central space and courtyard is very reminiscent of African culture. The indoor growing systems are well described with good visibility. However, there seems to be a lack of time in your team that you didn't have time to complete the landscape design outdoor function. So they're missing. It would be great to also provide solutions for landscape areas such as community gardens, orchards, and so on. You have a good attention on sustainability issues. There's a good analysis of the wind energy potential. However, water and soil waste topics are not described as possible solutions. You consider the carbon footprint of the building using wood as a building material, which is clear and well detailed, but it does raise the question of the cost. The business model and also the social impact chapters lacks attention and more detailed analysis. The overall social impact plan is coherent, but it lacks tangible directives to be executed and their long-term effects on World 7. Better illustrations or diagrams or some infographic would be helpful to depict this. But overall, Team Award, sorry that we find that your proposal is not well balanced enough to address some of the key topics in challenge. Thank you for your effort. So, down to the last team. Hello. Nervous? Waiting for the last moment? Team Agriculture. Team Agriculture. You have a overall concept which is coherent and inspiring to create social impact and sustainable return on investment for World 7. The jury also very happy to see a significant improvement for milestone 1. Congratulations. There's a good visual analogy of the tree components to represent the living garden concept. There is a good level of research that has gone into the proposed solutions. The food production systems and sustainability systems are well described. The effort to tie multiple players' entities into solutions is commendable. However, the integration of the tree analogy into the site design and overall concept is less than satisfactory. Overall, the proposal provides a lot of good analysis, which can be strengthened with better visual storytelling. Your productive part of the project is mostly based on aquaponics system. Calculations are correct. More details about plants production and fish species will be appreciated, as well as more precise technical drawing to perfectly understand operation. Food production in the edible landscape is an interesting idea, but yield and more precise detail will be appreciated. The production system is based on decentralized modular container systems, so it's with a convincing investment and output analysis. There's a good consideration of grocery trucks to answer to the delivery challenge as part of the integral food system. However, it was a bit difficult to read through the dense text to really understand the relationship between the business component. A better and meaningful diagrams would be really appreciated. We hope you have the next month to improve on this aspect. So congratulations, Team Agriculture. You're in the final. So, Walt, that was the last team. Mission accomplished.
That were all the teams. So I think you can grab a sip of water now after all the talking. So thank you, Tiffany, for announcing the finalists. So first of all, I really want to thank all the teams for making it this far. We really enjoyed seeing all your work, but unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to some of you. So to the teams who did not make it to the finals, we hope you loved the experience of the challenge. We hope you learned a lot. And of course, we hope that you will continue to work in this interesting field. And then for the 10 teams who will make it to the finals, congratulations are definitely in order. So you now have some weeks to make your pitch perfect. And then we will see you on the 29th of June, perhaps even in person on the work campus for the grand finale. So I invite you all to grab a drink and let's toast to this moment. And thank you for watching and see you on the 29th of June. Yes. Yeah, no pop, but I can crack. Bye.